Welcome back to the Rich Marriage Podcast with Jason and Jennifer Hall. We're so excited to have you with us today. We have some special guests that will be joining us. We're so excited to have Chris and Regina Alexander. Thank y'all for being with us today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Man, this is family, y'all. I know we say like this is super special, but Chris and Regina are just special people in our lives. They are our brothers and our sisters. We consider them family. We have the privilege and the honor to sit with them, do life with them, and serve with them in several spaces. So y'all are in for a treat today. I would encourage you to grab a piece of paper and a pencil. I mean, your journals, because I know this is going to be a rich episode. So Regina and Chris, we would ask y'all to just introduce yourselves. How did you meet? How many years have you been married? How many kids do you have?
A lot.
We actually went to junior high together, but we didn't know each other in junior high. We met because I had just moved back to St. Louis for my 8th grade year, but we met in high school. And so ran in the same circles. Both athletes had friends that were mutual friends. So, yep, we met in high school. We have been together since we were 16 and 17.
Oh,
His locker was next to mine. He was tall, so I'm like, can you get my books at the top of my locker? And then he was a young man that would take me out to McDonald's after track meet. So I was like, hey, maybe he a keeper because he gonna feed me after track meet. So
That's impressive.
yeah, I get a ride home with you. So the rest is history. We've been together since high school.
wow.
Going on. So August of 25 will be 25 years of marriage.
Yes, indeed.
We have 4 kiddos, 21, 18, 15, and 12. 3 girls and a boy. So extremely proud of them. And some of God's greatest blessings to us, obviously. They're all doing really, really well. So, yeah.
That's us.
Amazing.
This is us.
I love it. I love it. We so appreciate again y'all being here today. With having 4 kiddos, man, we can resonate. Regina's like, we have a lot. We have a lot too. So we resonate with y'all on that. So, man, how is it building your rich marriage? How would you really define that? How would you define your rich marriage? We always tell our listeners that, our definition of our rich marriage looks different
For everyone.
for
Absolutely.
every single marriage, right? That's the beauty of it.
Yes.
And so how would you define your rich marriage? What does that look like?
By not looking at other people.
I love it. Yes. Yes.
And it goes to, it is. And one of the things, you get married, everyone has some advice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you get children, people have more advice. And one of the things that we learned pretty early was to, chew up the meat and spit out the bone.
Mm-hmm.
We take from what people have that is value that we can apply towards us. But one of the things that my grandfather told us when we first got married was make sure that we always, always, always put one another first, even before our children.
Yes.
And that's something that we have done our best to model. And so when we talk about all of their activities and all, we've always made it very, very clear that mommy and daddy have to be first. I give the example, though, it's like on the airplane.
Yeah.
They say when oxygen mask drop down, we lose cabin pressure. You have to put the mask on yourself first. Especially as a parent, that's very counterintuitive. You would be like, no, I got to put it on my child first. But if you put it on the children and then you pass out, then you're no longer going to be any good for them for the remainder of whatever the flight issue is. And so we put the oxygen mask on ourselves, on our marriage first.
Yes.
And we want them to see it. I want my girls to understand what it feels like to be prioritized, and they're like, yeah, but I'm your baby. Hey, that's my woman. You know what I mean? I want to make sure, I want them to
And she was
understand
my woman before she was your
before,
woman.
absolutely, especially my son.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're affectionate. We play. I chase my wife around the house, and they, oh, gross, stop. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, that's my woman. I want my son to understand how to continue to pursue his bride after 25 years. I want my daughters to understand what it feels like to be desired and to be, and we try to model that. But that first and foremost of making sure they understand that we're going to make sure we're healthy first.
Yes.
Yeah, and when you think about, in the world, how do we become rich? We invest in different ways to be able to build up that wealth. And it's the same way in our marriage. Like, we have to invest in each other
Yes.
to build a rich marriage. And so, We invest in so many things outside of our marriage, but unfortunately, we don't take that time to really invest in ourselves. And it's not a one and done. It's not I invested in Jennifer, 20 years ago or 10 or 5 years ago. It's a recommitment of, okay, how can I invest in you? How can I see you? How can I learn new things about you? How can I continue to just pursue you in different ways? Because there's different seasons in life. What we like and enjoy when we were 19 years old is different when we're in our 40s. So I think that makes a rich marriage. Open communication, making sure that life be lifing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't stop, and the enemy knows that, right? And so how do we openly communicate those when things are going well, and when we need to have courageous conversations about the hard in life, whether that's within our marriage or external variables. So that's another component: open communication with each other. And just intimacy, into me, you see, right? And whether that's physical, emotional, various types of intimacy, making sure that we understand each other on all levels, at all times. Or several, I could go on and on.
And I think the intentionality around everything that Regina just spoke through and all this, we have to be intentional about. We're intentional is really, really, we would all agree that our marriages are the most important relationships, earthly relationships that we have. But unfortunately, most oftentimes we give each other what's left at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We give our reserves and our exhaust and our fumes, as opposed to being intentional about giving our best. We understand God's principle of giving our first fruits to Him in our homes, the ministry that He has blessed us with in our homes. To give our first fruits to our spouses and our children. We're intentional about scheduling doctor's appointments, golfing outings, and all of these types of things. When do you put on your calendar, a date with your spouse, or we're going to sit and have a conversation about, whatever those types of things are. We just hope that kind of happens.
Yes.
And that's just not how it works. Everything else, those that mark success, or we're intentional about everything else. And unfortunately, we don't show generally that same intentionality around our marriages. And it's critically important that we do so.
And walking in humility, like truly being like, listen, we're on the same team.
Right. I'm for you.
For each other. In so many years we fight. It's just like, what? We all with Chris used to say, hey, I can win the battle, but I can lose the war.
Yeah.
And so what is the end goal? Is it for me to one up you, or is it really to say, what? Let me humble myself enough to say, what? I apologize.
Yeah.
I was tripping. I have to own my part. I can't fix him or change him or control him. I'm responsible for my response. And so I think when we lean into a space of humility, that makes our marriage more rich, right?
Yeah, I'm smiling because we've mentored a lot of couples, mentor a lot of young men. It's like, and then I told her, and I'm just smiling like, yeah, how did that work out for you? What was your end goal?
Yeah.
Sports football analogy. What's the end zone? And did that statement or that action help you get closer to your end game of connectivity with your spouse?
Yes.
You felt like you won, but you took 10 yards back, as opposed to what did that accomplish? How did that work out for you? So that humility piece that you're talking about is just critically.
I had to humble myself yesterday. Like, hey, I'm sorry, I've been tripping. I know, because but if I don't do that, you wonder why things manifest and then fester, and you get to a point in your marriage, like, man, and it's unresolved conflict.
Yeah.
It's the little things sometimes that it's just like, what? I need to humble myself and apologize and own my part, because that's what I'm responsible for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. So good.
Wow, they're dropping a lot of nuggets, y'all. This is, whew. I mean, I was trying to ask some questions, but then they answered all of them. No, you answered them in a beautiful way. Like, because with 25 years of marriage, I was thinking, the wisdom that y'all dropping. What are some practical things that you do that could maybe help some other couples that are watching, like, or people that are in heavy relationships about to get married? What are some practical things you can do? Because some people don't know, they're learning and they're growing, but what are some things that can help them in their relationships cultivate a rich marriage?
Talk about it. I think what Regina said earlier, that communication, I know we all know that every relationship, communication is key, but no communication, no relationship, no earthly relationship. Obviously our communication with our Heavenly Father, but then our communication with one another, there's nothing more because, and again, it's not cookie cutter. You know, what is important to this old relationships that somebody might have had, you know, or whatever the case may be, might not be core to what your current relationship or whatever, and you have to be able to talk through. So communication, sex, and money. Those are core, not the only items, but those are core items when you look at the statistics that most people struggle with because they're not on the same page about, because they just don't talk about the hard stuff. And it can be challenge. It can be a challenge when you have that one, whoever the one individual is that's more on the budget and more, you know, to have to be like, well, no, we can't do. And those conversations are difficult, but when we don't have them, again, those things fester or they blow up. Having true conversation about where we are with that is just so important. And it doesn't have to be always, be intentional, create a space. We had an older couple when we went through Preparing and Rich training. They said that they were scheduled like Tuesday nights. They would go, they did not do it in the confines in their bedroom. That's a whole different conversation. That's their intimate space. So a lot of couples go into their bedroom to have the tough conversations. And then wonder why there's, you know, some kind of barrier for, they would every Tuesday go to IHOP and just sit down. And is there anything that we need to talk about? You know what I mean? But this was a company that had like 50 years worth of, and you could tell they were so in tune with one another, but they just talked about something that they had learned along the way to be very intentional around having those difficult conversations. It's just important.
And I also think, in addition to that, you know, you ask, what would I tell somebody in a new relationship or about to get married or whatever? Find community, find good, safe uh, community that you can lean into. Somebody who's a little bit, you know, down the path that you're on, because I think there's a lot, and I think that's why we're so intentional about pouring into younger couples or individuals who are in newer relationships, because man, we feel like, yes, we can do those things alone, but if you don't know what you don't know. And if you don't have community and individuals, your tightest two men or women in your lives or whatever, to say that are authentic and transparent about the good and the hard that they've navigated, I think that has been a great tool and resource that has been able to. Am I tripping? Have y'all? You know, versus going through 15, 20 years, and it's like, oh my goodness, if I had somebody to say, isolation, the enemy wants to isolate us. Find you a Jennifer Hall in your life and be like, girl, listen. The good heart, the how to pray, how to encourage, and use the resources. We prepare and rich, communication, sex, and money, love and respect. Weekend to remember. We find resources. We know God is our source, and His Word is our foundation. But there is something to be said about having community, relationships, and resources that are biblically based to help navigate you too.
I love that.
And relationships with people that are for your marriage and for your spouse. You know what I mean? Going to talk to your boy that's single, that's out, you know what I mean? That's whatever. Right. All of that. But but having relationship with couples that are evenly yoked, like-minded, that can have, hey, give me some guidance to get that. But I know Jason Hall is for Regina. He's for our marriage and he's for Regina. So he would never give me any type of brotherly counsel that would be opposed to that. So you got to be very, very cautious. One, with who you let into your circle. That's a whole week. That we could spend a whole podcast talking about that. You know, even those with best intentions, our families and all of that type stuff. Our unit has to be our unit. You know, first and foremost. I was talking to my daughter about that just yesterday. You know, you'll be done thrown up. You know, something that happened with the relationship to people that care about you. And then now you have, you know, reconciled with your significant other, but all of your other family might not, you know, they're like, no, I'm still mad. I remember what happened last week, right? You have to be very, very mindful of, and it's not hiding, but it's just everybody, everyone does not have the right to that access, that level of access within your unit. And so just being mindful of how you share, what you share. So that's being in community with the right individuals that you are able to, because we do need support. We do need encouragement, and we need accountability.
Yes.
I need brothers that will tell me, "No, Chris, yeah, you tripping?
Yeah.
Hey, am I tripping? Yes. Yeah, I think so. I think so. I
Yes.
need brothers. We all need that. We need
Yeah.
that.
That's
Yeah.
so good.
And to find some couples that want to have fun too.
Right.
I think that is just one of the as a believer
Mhm.
and within marriage, we can have a good time. I say all the time, listen, if it's not sin, I'm in. Let's go for it. And so have fun, engage each other in a because life is full and life is hard and has its challenges. So to be able to have a rich marriage, take time to have fun and
Yeah.
play.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love
Absolutely.
it.
Wow. This is,
This is so good. Like y'all better have the pen and paper. I'm telling you, the nuggets that are being dropped here. No, this is so good. And just going back to like those cues too from the kids, right? Them saying those things, you know you're doing it right,
Yeah.
right? We
Yeah.
tell them all the time, like, okay, if y'all saying that we talk too much, we're engaging with each other too
Right.
much, we doing it
Right.
right. We're
Absolutely.
going out too much, we're doing date
Absolutely.
night too much.
Again, y'all going out again?
Yeah,
Yes.
you going? Yes, we're
Yeah.
going out
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
right? Like those are cues for us,
Absolutely.
right? That we know we're doing something right. We
Right.
tell them all the time, if y'all see us not talking like that,
That's when you should be
y'all see us
concerned.
not going out on date
Absolutely.
night,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's when you need to be
Absolutely.
concerned, right? So I
Absolutely.
love that about you all. You always bring your children into everything that you do. What you're modeling, you're so intentional about that. Modeling that before your children, you're doing everything with intentionality, and that's a rich marriage. Like that's so huge. Like you guys are, such examples to us, and to so many people in the community, but as well as your children. So I would love to segue into what does it look like to maintain. I know we talked about being intentional, maintaining and building a rich marriage while also building a rich parenting life. How do you do that? How do you maintain it? I know for a fact the hats that y'all wear,
Yeah.
there are so many. How do you keep it all afloat? How do you keep it going? How do you maintain a rich marriage and a rich parenting life? So I'd love to segue into that as we close out on this
Yeah.
segment.
Yeah.
I'd love to segue into that on part 2.